A sense of an identity that fulfills our hope or our aspiration for who we would wish or believe we should be. And we use, in fact, those experiences of feelings and thoughts and sensations and those possessions of things that we might have, like cars and clothes and houses and watches, all of which are useful and beneficial in their place. We use them, and this is actually their deeper significance to us, as a way of somehow trying to reflect to ourselves a sense of our identity that fulfills us, that makes us feel I'm okay, I'm good, I'm nice, I'm acceptable, I'm likable, I'm as I should be, and I'm not somehow wrong or bad or unacceptable. And yet, what we also notice is that in that more subtle level of what goes on in us, we again don't come to a place where we can just say, finally, I've got it together. I've made myself into the person I want or believe I should be. We don't, because we're doing it based on all these experiences and all these things, these possessions or material items that keep changing, that keep moving, that don't kind of settle into a reliable, fixed and perfect pattern. They just don't. If they did, we'd have managed to do it by now. We'd have got it together. It would have happened. We could put our feet up and go, nothing more to be done. There's something kind of tender and tragic about the fact that we keep trying to do that. It's sort of almost like one might see a child doing something that really doesn't serve them and they don't understand, and they keep doing it. You know, playing on the street where the cars are coming past and you think, not a good idea, but they want to. Looks like fun. To be able to see ourselves, to look at ourselves and what we do with wisdom and compassion, is to see that a lot of our activity and our engagement doesn't lead us to that which it promises us. And yet it takes a long time to get that, to really see that clearly. It's like there's this current in us that's so strong. It's so strong. The seeking, the searching, this trying to get, to become, to have, to be something or someone in the end leaves us feeling exhausted and empty, because it seems to always be about somewhere we have to get to, or someone we have to become, or something we have to possess that's not here, that's not now, that's other than this. And in that sense of other and the sense of satisfaction being projected onto it somewhere out there, we constantly live in a sense of lack. Or we certainly have or run the risk of doing so. That may not be your experience, but that's certainly the risk of giving to some thing, some experience, or some ideal of who we should be, the power to be the resolution of our life. So what we notice when we pick up this rather simple instruction to be present, to be awake, to notice what's going on, what we see is that although it sounds rather straightforward and easy, and even though we might have done this many times, or perhaps it's the first time, to really be present is remarkably challenging. So many things pull and push and tug at the mind and the heart. So many things move in the body, the mind and the heart, and that we're constantly reacting to them. We tend to get lost in our stories about them, how it came to be this way, what we need to do about it. We get caught in the things and fixated upon things that seem really important, problematic, or desperately necessary for us. And we can find our mind tightening around them. Or we find so many things going on that we're fragmented. We're just there's a sense of all these different things to deal with. And there's really no way we can hold them all. Get lost then in the gaps between. And this is the condition we find ourselves in, to not judge that, to not reject it, but to see that as we recognize that condition, we can also, in that recognizing itself, see the potential for being with it in a different way. The stream of reactivity, of mental activity, of lostness in it that carries us away. By saying to that in a simple, non-reactive, non-rejecting way, no, that's not what I'm seeking to choose here, to inhabit. To be able to step out of that and say, what's right now? What's this experience? To come back into the body, into the breath, into the taking of a step, and connect with that experience. That brings us and starts to, in a very simple and gentle but ultimately unstoppable way, starts to heal the sense of the division in our life between what it is and what we think it should be, or where we think it should be. When we actually choose where it is, which is this, right now, as the place to inhabit, as the experience to value. Not by saying it's good or better than anything else, but by saying it's here, this is it. Not because we chose it, but because it is. This is what's happening. Coming back into that, reconnecting with that, requires us to stand steady in the face of the pull of the fear and the grasping, the reactivity and the demands that say to us, no, I don't want this. This is not what I'm willing to live with. Or I've got to have something else. I've got to have something else. To stand steady in the face of that tendency. And see what starts to happen. Be interested in noticing what is possible in that condition. If we start to see what's happening, we start to have choices. We are no longer swept mindlessly, unconsciously away by the streams of habitual reactivity, dissatisfaction and disconnection. And this really is the key to transforming our life. Not the life that we think about as a story running into the future, but the life that is happening right here and now. That is the life we can transform. Because it's real. And in that, we also start to notice that there are particular things that grab us, that pull us, that push us. And to not judge ourselves for that. It's inevitable, it's natural essentially. That we find ourselves subject to these forces within. But to make the choice to say, okay, I want to understand what's going on here. I want to see this clearly. Out of compassion for one's life, for one's heart and mind. Out of caring and a sense of possibility. That says, okay, so I'm carried, I'm overwhelmed.